The nursing home where she worked reception had always had a reputation in town, the kind of place people whispered about but never openly discussed. Residents would sometimes talk about seeing people in their rooms who weren't really there, and more than one nurse had quit after hearing voices in empty hallways. The building itself was old, with long corridors and dim lighting that seemed to swallow sound, and at night it carried an atmosphere that was almost unbearable. She'd gotten used to ignoring the strange things she heard during her shifts, but deep down she knew there was something wrong with the place.
Estaba haciendo en vivo aquí en el asilo de ancianos y se estaban escuchando muchos ruidos. Y mucha gente, cuando me acercaba a la silla de ruedas, notaba que algo se miraba, algo se escuchaba. Vamos a ver la silla de ruedas. No mames. ¿Viste eso? Cuando estaba haciéndole en vivo y yo me acercaba aquí a la silla de ruedas, se cortaba, se escuchaba mucho interferencia, se escuchaban voces. Vean esto, vean. No sé si miraste cómo se movió. Cuando estaba haciéndole en vivo y yo me acercaba aquí, se cortaba, se escuchaban demasiadas voces. A mí no me gustan las sillas de ruedas porque yo sé que ahí hay mucha energía. No hay nadie del pasillo. Escucharon pasos para allá. Ay. ¿Escuchan? Escuché que cerraron la puerta. No sé si escucharon la puerta. Pero aquí siempre hay actividad. Es la primera vez que veo una silla de ruedas aquí. Ponme un comentario si lograste mirar cómo se movió la silla de ruedas. Si es que viste.
In her recording, she explained that a wheelchair had been moving on its own, and as if to prove her point, it suddenly rolled backward slowly into the middle of the hall. As the camera kept rolling, noises echoed down the corridor, unsettling and unexplainable. Moments later, a door at the far end slammed shut, even though nobody else was supposed to be on the floor. She admitted afterward that this was the first time she truly believed the stories the residents and staff had been whispering all along, and though she tried to finish her shift, she left that night shaken and swore she would never work another late shift again. Beerka and her husband had always been wary of one particular doll sitting on their shelf, a hand-me-down passed through the family that carried a strange history. It was originally gifted to her grandmother, but everyone who'd owned it since claimed it brought nothing but unease with odd noises, cold drafts, and the sensation of being watched. Beerka had always laughed it off, keeping the doll tucked away among other decorations in their living room.
Kiss? It's not a kiss, Isa. Come on, kiss.
Oh well. She tries.
In one video, her husband was filming her as she played around with their pet bird, leaning in to kiss it and laughing while the camera caught the wholesome moment. What Beerka didn't realize was that just behind her, the doll on the shelf shifted on its own, caught clearly in the frame. For extra proof, they later showed another clip of the doll, moving randomly at a different time, confirming it wasn't a coincidence. Shaken by the realization that the family heirloom might actually be cursed, Beerka has already made plans to get rid of it entirely, convinced that keeping it any longer could put her and her family in danger. Ethan had been working at the sneaker store for a couple of years and loved every minute of it. The thrill of new releases, the energy of customers hunting for the latest drops, and the small joy of arranging the shelves just right made it more than just a job. It was a passion. Most evenings were quiet, giving him time to tidy up or just enjoy the calm after a busy day. One day, while the store was completely empty, Ethan was leaning against the counter scrolling through his phone when something caught his eye on the CCTV monitor. A sneaker on one of the higher shelves suddenly toppled to the floor, clattering loudly despite no one being inside. Startled, he sprinted into the storage room for a moment to collect himself, then cautiously returned to the spot. After a few deep breaths, he picked up the sneaker and carefully placed it back on the shelf, still shaken, but trying to rationalize what had just happened. Despite the unsettling moment, Ethan's love for the job didn't waver, though he couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that lingered in the empty store. The story is easy to continue, leaving room for whatever strange encounter might happen next. The next morning, Ethan arrived at the store to begin his shift, still unsettled from the previous night. As he walked in, his eyes immediately landed on a crock lying on the floor, one that had definitely not been there when he locked up. Confused and slightly alarmed, he checked the CCTV footage from the night before. The video clearly showed the sneaker sliding off its shelf and hitting the floor, seemingly on its own, with no one else in the store. Unsure of what to do, Ethan reported the incident to his manager, explaining everything exactly as he saw it. We have no clue what happened after this interaction, but hopefully he got the help he deserves. Marty had been noticing strange things in his home for quite some time, mostly little oddities he couldn't explain. For weeks, the door to his bedroom seemed to move on its own, the handle twisting or rattling as if someone or something were trying to get in. One night, determined to finally capture it on camera, he grabbed his phone and started filming, moving around the room quickly to show that it was completely empty.
It's fucked up, look. Well, I'm going to try and prove this time. I'm going to round the room as quick as I can and prove that no one is in this room. Hang on. How to explain that?
The door handle twisted and turned on its own, but when he stepped inside the room, there was absolutely nothing there. After reviewing the footage, Marty felt a mix of relief and unease. It was clear that whatever had been causing the door to move was real, or at least unexplainable by normal means. He started setting up extra cameras around the house to see if he could capture more activity, and kept a notebook to record the times and patterns of the occurrences. Friends and family were skeptical, but he insisted on documenting everything, hoping to eventually make sense of it. Despite the lingering fear, Marty became more cautious in his home, double-checking doors and windows, and even occasionally leaving a light on at night. The experience left him both fascinated and wary, knowing that the strange activity could return at any moment. Rosanna had been having a fairly quiet night, the kind where everything felt normal and predictable. That is, until she was woken by the sound of a baby crying. Groggy and confused, she got out of bed to check, only to find her laptop in the living room playing the crying sounds, something she hadn't opened or touched. What happened next was horrifying, so take a look.
Arrête. Arrête. Oh Dieu. C'est quoi?
Heart pounding, she followed the noise to the next room. That's when she saw it, a doll, hovering unnaturally in the air, staring at her. After locking eyes with it for a few tense seconds, the doll suddenly dropped to the floor. Shaken, Rosanna stepped into the room to get a closer look, but as soon as she did, the door slammed shut behind her, leaving her trapped in there for a moment. She later admitted that the experience left her rattled, and she began considering professional help to understand what was happening in her home. Ian is still in the abandoned theater that he has been in for several of my videos now, ghost hunting. The air felt colder than before, and the familiar creaks of the old building seemed amplified in the empty space. As he cautiously set down a still camera, a sudden mist appeared briefly on a chair, lingering just long enough to make him freeze. Moments later, another unexplained glow emerged from a different chair across the room, faint but unmistakable against the darkness. Finally, a drifting light seemed to leave the room entirely, moving toward the hall before fading out of view. Ian left the room shaken, but more determined than ever. to uncover the truth behind its eerie occurrences. Two friends were spending time at a house one of them owned when things started to feel off. One of them mentioned a cold chill, and the other decided to start filming just in case.
Did you just experience something?
Bro, I swear to God, dude, I felt something really cold.
Really?
What?
Dude, what the Oh my God.
What the Oh shit! Dude, I kid you not, there's like literally nobody in there. What the dude?
What follows is a chaotic few seconds. Loads of strange things begin happening rapidly, all on camera, building up to the most shocking moment when two objects fly off the kitchen counter on their own. There's no one else in the house, and nothing around that could have caused it. The owner of the home was left speechless watching it back. This wasn't just creaky floors or strange feelings. Something in the house wanted to make itself known. Yama, a passionate ghost hunter from China, had always chased the thrill of the unexplained. One night, he decided to explore a well-known abandoned house where the previous owner had passed away under unclear circumstances. He brought his camera, as usual, ready to document. While walking through the quiet halls, Yama stepped out of one room, and that's when the tapping began. Rhythmic, deliberate, and coming from behind him. Suddenly, an item launched itself off a shelf and hit the floor hard. Yama rushed back in and searched the entire space, filming every corner. There was no one there. Nothing. He laughed it off in the moment, chalking it up to old wood and imagination, but admits that was the one time he felt like maybe he wasn't alone. Even if he says he's still skeptical, Yama hasn't been back since. Angel Martinez had always been fascinated by the paranormal. Exploring haunted and abandoned places had become a personal hobby, and when he heard stories about an old school at the edge of town, one that had been closed for years and surrounded by rumors of strange activity, He knew he had to see it for himself. On a cloudy night, he showed up with his camera and began filming from the outside. Almost immediately, he noticed something odd. Despite the school being disconnected from any power source, several lights inside were flickering on and off in a pattern that didn't feel random. He stayed outside for a while, trying to make sense of it, but eventually curiosity got the better of him.
Y esta sería la última aula que reviso en el rondín. Ah, como pueden ver, pues está un poco descuidada porque aquí han guardado las cosas que el colegio antes usaba. Escuché algo, pero no sé qué fue. Bueno, fue la 100 puta. Uy, fue la 100 puta. No jodas. Ojalá que lo haya grabado. Ojalá que lo haya grabado.
Once inside, the air was heavy and the silence was sharp. Angel moved carefully through the dusty corridors, speaking softly into the camera as he filmed. Then it happened. A plastic chair in the middle of the room slid across the floor, not once, but twice. First a short scrape, then a sudden, more forceful slide. Angel froze for a moment, disbelief written all over his face, before turning and running out of the building as fast as he could. After the incident, Angel shared the video online, expecting people to dismiss it as fake or exaggerated. Instead, it gained unexpected traction, and many began messaging him about similar stories tied to that same school. While Angel hasn't gone back, he's now considering working with a small team to return and investigate further. A woman on TikTok who goes by the online alias Cello had noticed strange activity from her dog over the past few weeks. It was almost as if it sensed an unearthly presence in the house, and we all know that dogs are great with their senses. Cello took this into account and put great effort into working out what could be triggering this until finally she was exposed to it. Constant knocking, people called her crazy, and all sorts of unkind things, but eventually she proved them all wrong with video evidence alongside something else.
Okay, I'm so crazy, right? Here you go. Baby's terrified. Hold on. I know. You're okay. You're okay. I know.
Not only was the dog in discomfort again, but the door was caught opening and closing by itself just shortly after Cello left the camera to film. Of course, the dog chose to be brave and went to investigate, but the reaction from Cello was far different. She refused to go anywhere near the door until someone of high expertise came to check, but due to financial struggles, she is not able to seek professional assistance. In case she sees this, make sure to offer your advice in the comments. The following set of videos were caught in the Netherlands by a woman called Sabia, and her story is truly on the terrifying ends of things. About 3 months ago, Sabia had no belief in the paranormal world whatsoever, but one day, her now ex-boyfriend asked her to visit a haunted location together. Without any fear or second-guessing, she accepted the offer and was excited to laugh at how pathetic the fake hauntings were, and it lived up to her expectations. Whilst there, Sabia didn't become frightened once, and came up with reasons why everything was anything but a ghost. However, little did she know that when the duo arrived home, things would get weird.
Wat is er toch aan de hand? De lamp is stil. Dat is dat vieze creepy ass keukentje. Kijk, dat bedoel ik dus. Dat is het licht. Fuck, ik kom niet zo. Dit gaan we doen weer. Zie, er is hier dus. Dit is dus het lichtknopje. Het is echt helemaal niet. Deze deur is gewoon dicht. Er is hier gewoon echt helemaal niemand. Fuck. Zie je zo'n ding? Kijk. Dat bedoel ik dus. Dat bedoel ik dus. Oh my god. Er is hier echt helemaal niemand. Oh fuck. Nou, dit is het weer, hè?
Sabia's boyfriend at the time was fast asleep, and she saw the door to the room move on its own accord, so decided to get out of bed. Cautiously, she walked around until she saw the light of the kitchen flashing at a consistent basis. Worried, she approached the scene, but nothing was in there, making her go back to bed defeated. After some pondering, she came to the conclusion that her boyfriend was the culprit behind this, and deemed it as a prank. Since she was the one paying the most rent for the household, she told him that he was staying at his dad's tonight, and he listened, so she had it all to herself, which should have resulted in peace and quiet. But unfortunately, this was not the case, and this happened. The craziest part about this isn't even what happened, but the fact it proved the innocence of Sabia's boyfriend. The fact the hauntings were so prominent as well, with many items moving on their own, meant that whatever actually was behind all this torment was a powerful thing, and forced her to believe that ghosts were in fact real. Sabia called her boyfriend immediately, who broke up with her for not putting her trust in her, despite how much he denied that he pranked her. This meant the next night was another night alone for her, but without the anticipation of peace and quiet. Again, strange things happened, with the most prominent being the voice that was heard. Sabia had no children, and the voice of a little girl echoed around the house, but at least this let her identify what was actually haunting her. The weird thing was that she had never been in association with somebody of that age, so it couldn't be someone from her life. With no means of true escape, Sabia asked her father, which is ironic considering her boyfriend's situation, to stay over there, and he said yes. Unfortunately, sleep wasn't even possible at his place due to constant notifications from her camera. At almost midnight, the house was going crazy, and it really is saddening to see. I wish Sabia the best of luck in escaping this spirit. The basement is the most probable place in anybody's house to succumb to being haunted, so the least thing you would expect is for someone to run there when trying to avoid it. The following video had our victim so desperate for safety, though, that it happened. The time was just 7:30 in the evening, and the man was doing everything you would want to in life, sitting down and planning a lovely holiday to Europe. However, little did he know that this would happen, and he was fortunate enough to be filming the door.
Ještě nie teraz, jak w sobotę. Kurwa mać. No nie było pomóc, żeby tu wrócić. Tak chuj.
First of all, he was filming the door because something happened earlier, and immediately after a knock happened on the door, he jumped to action. Straight away, everything in the house became a bubble of the paranormal, and it was way too frightening. So he ran to the basement where the door slammed behind him. The ghost didn't let him out for a solid hour before the door finally gave way, and he was allowed to run from the home. You best believe that place went straight onto the housing market. Danny was doing some important things around the house when suddenly a series of knocking noises started to occur in the bathroom. Out of natural human curiosity, he decided to go and investigate. But little did he know, this was going to be the worst decision of his life. What he initially believed would be a rodent infestation, or something along those lines, quickly appeared to be something far more evil. I think if he got the choice, he would have picked the rodent any day. When he entered the room, the knocking continued, and as suspected, it was coming from the walls. Danny was going to go back to the living room and call the rodent exterminators that he already had on speed dial. But just as he was about to leave, a demonic-looking creature peeked around the curtains. Out of pure shock, Danny ended the video instantly and sprinted his way out of the house before opening his CCTV app. Nothing was in the house. Horror Xiaolong is a YouTube channel for the people out there who find spirits really interesting but would never put themselves in the face of one. This channel does that for its fans and showcases just how evil and twisted these beings can be. In the specific video of which I am about to show you, they were exploring a house that an entire family was slaughtered in, and it's no surprise that nobody had moved in since. Here is what happened.
有嫌疑的项链吗？这里边出来一个那啥呢，一个大人头，咱俩怎么办？消着吧，那不咋的。以咱们的脾气肯定消着。对，你肯定消。不一箱。哎呦我操！我操！哎呦我操！我哎呦！我操你妈！
To deny that this place has some form of haunted entity would be utterly ignorant, as it is almost certain something else was in there. Whether it was the brutally murdered family or another ghost though, that's a whole different question. Earlier on in the day, Egi was forced to evacuate his place of residence after a ghost started to play the piano. This was very creepy, and the strangest part was that it continued even after he unplugged it. Out of fear and confusion, he left the house and cycled all the way to his friends hoping they would let him in. He only forgot one key thing. They were on vacation. This meant he had to go all the way back home, and he was praying it'd stop. Did it? You'll have to have a look.
Ketawa aku bangsat. Baru aja sampai. Nih, masih pakai helm kan? Baru sampai. Udah disambut. Sedap. Anjing. Stop. Hidupin dia. Ketawa aku bangsat. Gimana ngidupinnya woi? Oh di sini. Nah. Oh udah hidup ya. Lihat kan? Baru pun sampai kan bangsat kan. Saya lagi malas buat konten. Ini pun sedikit aja kan karena tadi baru sampai tiba-tiba hujan. Udah dengar suara-suara aneh gini. Jadi next saya nggak akan konten-konten lagi. Saya cuman fokus mau main piano. Saya mau ngulik-ngulik lagu. Jadi saya mau fokus. Apapun gangguannya terserah. Intinya saya mau main aja. Biarin aja digangguin.
The house was clearly in no better state, and if anything, it had become far worse. The specific part that frightened Eggy the most was that the spirit seemed to be speaking to him, and the words could be made out quite easily. One of them was a religious phrase, which he didn't really know what to think of. Was this a poltergeist sent by his religion as a sign, or was it something evil speaking against his god? The truth is, he would never find out the answer to this question, and the next morning, nothing else happened. It must have been a sign. He just doesn't know what for. In what was meant to be a video showing off the new pool table his parents bought him, Josh discovered something terrible about his basement. Recently, his parents bought him a brand new pool table for his birthday, and they allowed him to invite 7 friends over for an 8-man pool tournament. On paper, the idea seemed incredible, but it wasn't long before he discovered an incredible flaw.
I'm getting ready to play some pool with my friends. And gonna have a tournament, see who's the all-time champ, cause my friends think they're gonna beat me. That was weird. My pool table right here. Delicious. Okay, must have tripped over that, but I don't know how. Okay. That was weird. Oh my god. Oh my god. That something just threw that glove at me. There's nothing over there. Whatever. I'm freaked out right now. I'm just gonna grab a pool stick.
From the moment Josh opened the basement door to the last second of the video, the evidence that this place was abnormal kept coming thick and fast. It was almost as if the spirit was on a sugar rush with the amount of chaos it was trying to cause out of seemingly nowhere. First of all, some sort of ball rolled down the stairs, and when he followed it, the chairs took action, moving on their own accord. Afterwards, Josh showed his parents the video, and they laughed as if it was some joke, and didn't believe him. Was this bad parenting? Have your say in the comments down below. It is a well-known thing that pets such as dogs and cats can see spirits, and while many choose not to believe this, there are still a lot of people who do. The logic behind it is that they can see certain light patterns that the human eye physically can't pick up, and poltergeists are seemingly made of these light patterns. Due to this, when your little friend starts to get upset or stressed over nothing, maybe you should consider the possibility that it isn't nothing after all. That was the case for the person who filmed our next clip.
Está en ruinas el estado de este templo. Bueno, pues ya está muy deteriorado. Se ve que aquí la gente viene a buscar tesoros. Escuchen. Escuchen, escuchen. ¿Ya vieron esa esquina? Como un rostro con un par de cuernos. ¿Sí se ve, no? Sí. Está completamente destrozado. Completamente destruido. ¿Qué dice ahí? Todos vamos directo hasta arriba.
The woman behind the camera was put on edge by this behavior, and to say it was scary would be an unjustly understatement. Her pet was staring at what looked like nothing to the human eye, but deep down she knew something was there, and there was actually visual proof. If you paid enough attention, a shadow figure could be seen, and it was a very faint one. I think it was certainly a ghost, and the dogs were definitely onto something, but I'm interested in your thoughts too. It is a well-known thing that pets such as dogs and cats can see spirits, and while many choose not to believe this, there are still a lot of people who do. The logic behind it is that they can see certain light patterns that the human eye physically can't pick up, and poltergeists are seemingly made of these light patterns. Due to this, when your little friend starts to get upset or stressed over nothing, maybe you should consider the possibility that it isn't nothing after all. That was the case for the person who filmed our next clip.
What? A shadow?
Maybe a shadow.
The woman behind the camera was put on edge by this behavior, and to say it was scary would be an unjustly understatement. Her pet was staring at what looked like nothing to the human eye, but deep down she knew something was there, and there was actually visual proof. If you paid enough attention, a shadow figure could be seen, and it was a very faint one. I think it was certainly a ghost, and the dogs were definitely onto something, but I'm interested in your thoughts too. Over the last few days, Marty has been hearing a series of bangs from upstairs, and he is well aware that they are not ordinary. One random day though, he decided that he had enough and wanted to go and check out the noises to see if there actually was a source, and he brought a camera just to have some evidence behind him. This is what was found.
Right, I'm going to record it, because I've heard a couple of bangs now. The last one was quite violent, and it came from upstairs. And it sounded like a door being shut. And I know you don't believe me when I'm here. Oh, bathroom lights on. Oh, and our door is shut, look. So, yeah. Huh. What's that doing on and why? Alright. Oscar? Oscar? Are you in here? Is that you? Oscar? Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Man, whoa! You? What the f? Oscar? Whoa. Mate. Hello? Oh, this is horrible. There's nothing in here. You can't get anything in here anyway, as you know. There's so much crap in there. This is just shit.
From a self-rolling ball to doors opening on their own accord, it was obvious that something was interacting with the room, leaving just one question. What was interacting with the room? There is no shot on Earth. It wasn't some sort of spirit. But what really matters is where it lies on the scale from evil to non-evil. Nobody wants an evil spirit. Ever since he was young, Marcus had been fascinated with the underground. He loved the stillness, the echoes, and the sense of mystery that came with exploring places most people would never see. Over the years, he had taken up caving as a hobby, often bringing his loyal dog along for company. On this particular day, he decided to explore a cave system he hadn't visited before, curious to see what secrets it might hold. With only his headlamp and his dog's eager excitement to guide the way, they ventured deep inside.
Out. Come here. Come on. Come on. Go. Misty. Just might stay. Keep looking. Stay behind me. What the fuck is that? Oh shit. Go. Come on, Missy. Come on, Missy.
The footage shows them carefully making their way through narrow passages until they eventually reach a dead end, where dozens of bats hang above, prompting Marcus to turn around. After walking back for only a short time, the beam of his light catches something ahead, a tall, human-like figure standing in the darkness. It was far too unnatural in movement and presence to be anything ordinary. Without a second thought, Marcus grabs his dog and bolts for the exit, the sound of his hurried footsteps echoing through the cave as they escape into daylight. Even now, he says he can't explain what he saw, and maybe he doesn't want to. Dre and his friend had been hanging out one evening when a series of strange noises started coming from the attic. At first, they brushed it off, thinking it might just be the wind or an old house creaking, but the sounds kept happening, louder each time. After a bit of debating, they decided to check it out for themselves. Climbing up into the dim attic, they were hit with an instant feeling of unease, like they were being watched. The air felt heavier, and both of them agreed it didn't feel right.
Alright, remember, I gotta turn this thing on here. Recorder's on.
Alright, we got the cripple.
Yeah, I'm the cripple. I'm the EVP director.
The EVP specialist. And, let's see if I can do this. Got myself, Dre. And we're up here because we heard some noises earlier. And we're trying to figure out if we can catch a little bit more. Or try to piss this thing off enough to let us know that it's here.
I heard you up here last night. Make a noise. I kept on hearing stuff in the back of the attic on the back there on the right, like there was something hiding back there. I got it on the recorder, like all these little bangs and scratching noises. And just for the record, there's no wildlife up here. What's your name? Stop hiding and show yourself.
Give us a sign. What the hell was that?
Did you see something?
We just got something on video.
What was it?
Oh my gosh, what was that? Hang on, we gotta stop this.
What did it look like?
In the footage, the camera pans across the far end of the attic, just in time to catch a sudden movement in the shadows. Nobody else was in the house, and no one could have been hiding there without them seeing. The encounter left them certain they had just come face to face with a ghost. Michaelenko is one of those rare ghost hunters whose reputation speaks for itself. Known for his sharp instincts, unshakable composure, and years of experience investigating some of the most infamous haunted locations, he's built a name for himself as the guy who gets results. Clients trust him because he doesn't just chase shadows, he documents them with undeniable clarity. So when he was offered $500 to prove a paranormal presence in a suburban home that had been giving its owners sleepless nights, he didn't hesitate. In the footage, Mykolenko is standing well across the room, far from the old wooden cabinet in question. Without warning, the cabinet begins to shake violently, sending several objects crashing to the floor. The angle is perfect, clear, steady, and without any sign of wires or tampering. The homeowners were convinced on the spot, and true to his word, Mykolenko delivered the proof and walked away with the full $500 in hand. If you want more investigations like this, make sure to subscribe. Mykolenko will be appearing in future videos, and you don't want to miss what he uncovers next. A man was relaxing in his bedroom late at night when a sudden aggressive rattling of a nearby door jolted him upright. At first, he thought it might be the wind, or maybe someone else in the house, but the sound was too intense and frantic to be either. Grabbing his camera, he stepped cautiously out of bed, his breathing already quickening as he edged closer to the source. The footage shows him standing right next to the door as the handle shakes violently on its own. Without warning, the door swings open and then closes again, all while the handle continues to tremble as if being gripped by invisible hands. His loud, panicked breathing fills the audio, making the moment even more unsettling. After the incident, he admitted he didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next day, he began researching and reaching out to local paranormal hunters, determined to bring in someone experienced who could explain or confront whatever was in his home. Valentina was at the hospital late one evening, sitting in the hallway while her father was being treated. She had no idea that at this exact point in time, her father had already passed away. She was scrolling through her phone, trying to distract herself from the stress, when something caught her attention out of the corner of her eye.
No. Ay, no puede ser, mira. No, mira. No te puedo creer, la puta madre. Ay, no, lo que le parió. No.
The wheelchair her father regularly used began to roll forward completely on its own, moving smoothly across the corridor without anyone near it. Valentina froze, her fear mixing with confusion as she stared at the empty seat. Later, a nurse informed her that her father's heart had stopped just 2 minutes before the wheelchair had moved. The timing left her shaken, wondering if this was her father's way of saying goodbye. Marcos had just returned home from a long shift at work and was winding down for the night, watching TV in her room. It was quiet, the kind of stillness that usually meant nothing out of the ordinary would happen. But then she heard it, a distinct thud from just outside her bedroom door, like something heavy had fallen. At first, she thought she imagined it, but the sound was too real to ignore. Curious and a little uneasy, she grabbed her phone and started recording before going to check.
Dios.
She slowly opened her bedroom door and immediately spotted an object lying on the floor in the hallway, something that definitely hadn't been there before. As she processed what she was seeing, a chair further down the hall suddenly slid across the floor directly toward her, stopping just a few feet away. Marcos backed up quickly, her breathing picking up as fear set in. Later, she admitted she didn't sleep in her room that night, and was now considering having a paranormal investigator come to see what she might be dealing with. Fabian was sitting in his room watching TV when he heard the familiar sound of his dad's car pulling into the driveway. He quickly turned his head toward the window, trying to catch a glimpse of him arriving. While Fabian's attention was fixed outside, the doll on his bed shifted suddenly, moving in a way that was far from natural. Fabian had no idea. He only turned back a moment later and hurried out of the room to greet his dad. Later, his mum reviewed the security footage from his room and was left stunned by what she saw. The doll had been perfectly still before, and there was no one near it when it moved. The unsettling discovery has her seriously considering moving out before whatever caused it decides to do more. Late at night in Mexico, a family was winding down when one of them claimed to see something strange moving outside from their bedroom window. They described it as a white cloak drifting through the street. So the father decided to head downstairs and step outside to record whatever it was.
Ya, loco, graba. Míralo ahí, loco, míralo ahí. ¿Y qué es lo que está haciendo? Yo te dije, loco, se parece a Martín, loco, el que murió. Cierra la puerta. Cierra la puerta. Llama a papi. Papi, ven que aquí hay una cosa rara, yo no sé qué es. Mira, llámalo, ve. Cierra la puerta. Ay, Dios mío. Mira. Ay, Dios. Llama a papi.
In the footage, a white bedsheet-like shape can be seen floating and twisting through the air, moving in a way that didn't match any breeze. It glided across the road, almost deliberately, before disappearing into the deep shadows beside another house. The family was left unsettled, unsure if it was some elaborate prank or something far stranger. Neighbors have since been warned, but the mystery remains unsolved. Zihon was fast asleep at 3 in the morning when a strange noise woke him up out of nowhere. At first he thought it might have been the wind, or maybe just a creak in the house, but the sound kept going. Curious and a little on edge, he got out of bed and made his way downstairs toward the kitchen to check it out.
Hey. 靠北啊！操，我他妈岔气的！看，那没有声音。不可能是风吧？ 阿没拍谁哦？哥弟，你有看到吗？你有看到有人腿那边的哥弟有他有。哎，有人吗？哎，不好意思啊，阿北，如果你不欢迎我的话，你可以出声吗？打扰了。我操！靠北，我才刚开播啊，大哥！阿北，对不起哦，我不口渴啊。你别叫我吃凉的好不好？老来的歹势。有电吗？
As soon as he walked in, the fridge door started opening and closing on its own, over and over again. Zihun stood there frozen, watching in disbelief as the appliance seemed to have a mind of its own. His hands were shaking while filming, and you could hear the panic in his screams as he backed away. Since that night, he has barely been able to sleep properly and refuses to go downstairs alone when it is dark. He even unplugged the fridge a few times just to make sure it was not some electrical fault, but the activity has not stopped. Now he is considering getting professional help because whatever is in that house is not just trying to scare him, it wants to be noticed. William had always believed his dog had a strong sense for things that humans couldn't pick up on. So when the dog stayed completely still in the same position for nearly 20 minutes, he knew something was off. It wasn't asleep, it wasn't distracted, it just stared blankly ahead, unresponsive to any sound or movement. William walked over, crouched beside it, and tried everything from petting to calling its name, but the dog wouldn't budge. This is when he decided that recording was the best option. Take a look.
What's up, hearing ghosts? You alright, Benja? Oi! You alright? You alright? Keep looking up at the wall earlier, won't you? If you don't mind, you know when something's not right. Fucking hearing noises. Fucking mania. Banging. Fuck's sake. Bossy's gonna fly off then.
Suddenly, a CD flew off the shelf and landed with a hard thud on the floor, breaking the silence. William stood frozen, staring at the shelf, trying to work out what could have caused it. The CD hadn't been leaning, there were no open windows, and he hadn't touched a thing. Now every time the dog passes that area, it slows down, ears perked and body tense. William hasn't seen anything since, but the air in that room still feels heavier than the rest of the house. Marcus is a seasoned ghost hunter, but even with all his experience, every case feels like a fresh mystery. He had just taken on a new job for $200, a small house where the owners had reported strange noises and cold spots late at night. It wasn't the biggest case he'd worked on, but he took it seriously like all the others. He He arrived in the evening, set up his equipment, and started recording straight away, hoping to catch even the slightest trace of paranormal activity. This is what he caught.
Fue así nomás, pero estoy sintiendo ruidos. No sé qué, a dónde. Yo creo que fue acá. ¿Vieron la cortina? No hay viento, gente. Miren, aparte una sola.
In the footage, the red curtain across the room moved twice on its own. No wind, no windows open, and Marcus wasn't anywhere near it. The second time it shifted, it was more aggressive, like something wanted to make sure it was seen. That was the moment Marcus knew the place wasn't just haunted, it was active. He stayed for another hour, asking questions, recording audio, and searching for cold spots. He didn't get much more on camera, but the curtain's movement was all he needed to confirm what the homeowners were feeling. He sent them the footage, warned them to stay cautious, and advised them to bless the home before anything worse decided to show itself. In 1980, Kevin had long felt that something was wrong with his house. It was not just the usual creaks or flickering lights, but the constant feeling that someone or something was watching him. After many sleepless nights and strange noises throughout the house, he decided to take action. He grabbed his camcorder and started recording every corner, hoping to find proof that he was not imagining things.
Right in the corner of this thing, there was this weird shape, man. He said I'm in here. What's down here, Joseph? Where are you? In where? Fucking pussy. Do something. You fucked up now, man. We're gonna bless this shit. Gonna fucking explode you from here. You don't belong here anymore. Hear me? This is fucking my house now. You making that shit beeping noise, huh? Talking? Now you're fucked, we're gonna bless the shit out of this place and you're fucking screwed.
The footage shows a ghostly figure suddenly appearing from the bottom of the laundry door as if it had been hiding there. Moments later, another figure rushes past the front door, moving so fast it blurs but remains visible. Kevin watched the tape over and over that night, trying to understand what he had captured. With clear evidence in hand, he now faces a difficult choice. Moving out feels premature, but staying does not feel safe anymore. For now, Kevin is still deciding what to do next. Let us hope he makes the right decision. Feel free to wish him good luck in the comments. The man had known for a long time that his house wasn't right. Cold spots, footsteps when no one was there, the unsettling feeling of always being watched. He'd experienced it all, but whenever he mentioned it, people laughed it off or told him he was just imagining things. So he took matters into his own hands and decided to set up a camera facing down the hallway before going to sleep, determined to get the proof he needed. He wasn't sure if anything would happen, but deep down, he hoped the camera would catch something undeniable.
And hell, I don't know. I guess that's good, right, guys? What do you think? Nah, we'll turn. I guess we'll turn. We'll just leave the hallway light on. All right. Hopefully we'll see something in the morning.
The light in the room at the very end of the hallway begins to flicker erratically, as if something is tampering with the power. Just seconds later, the door to the nearest room creaks open slowly, seemingly on its own. The silence of the house makes the moment even more intense. When the man woke up the next morning and reviewed the footage, his hands started shaking. He paused, rewound, and played it again multiple times just to be sure. The camera hadn't malfunctioned. Something really happened. He's now considering sleeping elsewhere for a while until he can figure out what to do next. Luke had always suspected there was something off about his house, but never paid it much attention. His main focus was on keeping an eye on his cat, Bear, who was known for knocking things over and causing trouble at night. To make things easier, Luke installed a few CCTV cameras around the house, not for anything paranormal, but simply to keep watch on Bear's nightly adventures. One night at exactly 11:30, he got a notification from one of the cameras and decided to check what was going on. The footage shows Bear cautiously approaching a teddy bear that had been sitting perfectly still for hours. As the cat nears it, the teddy's arm slowly shifts before the entire toy falls over by itself. Bear immediately stops in his tracks and stares at the fallen teddy, clearly disturbed. Luke watched the clip several times trying to make sense of it, but could not find any logical explanation. There were no drafts, no strings, and nothing that could have caused the movement. It was enough to make him rethink everything he believed about the house. Now, he is considering calling in someone who deals with this kind of thing just to be sure. Layla was curled up in bed, watching her favorite show, enjoying a quiet night in like she always did. Everything felt normal until she noticed the closet door slowly creaking open on its own. Thinking it was just a loose hinge or maybe a draft, she got up, shut it completely, and made sure it clicked closed. But something didn't sit right with her, so before climbing back under the covers, she grabbed her phone and hit record, just in case it happened again.
The door opened up a few minutes ago, so while I was laying down, so we're going to see if it's going to open again. I closed it and got back in the bed, and hopefully it is shut for tonight. I just end up getting out my bed a minute ago and shutting it, so let's see. Looky. I'm in my bed, and there she goes. So I'm gonna have to end up putting a towel in it, or she's gonna keep opening it up all night. But I'm in my bed, as you can see. It's opened up again by itself.
The footage shows Layla explaining the situation for a moment before the closet door begins to swing open once more, this time revealing absolutely nothing inside. No movement, no explanation, just empty space behind the door. Layla stays frozen for a few seconds, staring at the door and waiting for something else to happen, but the room remains silent. Watching it back later, she felt a chill, knowing she had double-checked that door, and it had opened anyway. Now she's keeping the phone near her every night and making sure that closet stays taped shut. She's not sure what she caught on camera, but she's not sleeping as peacefully anymore. Ian, better known as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, was back at it again, this time taking on an abandoned asylum with a heavy reputation. He decided to go solo for this one, something he rarely does, but the location was too infamous to ignore. As he walked down one of the long, echoing corridors, the silence was suffocating, with each step bouncing off the crumbling walls like a warning. Ian kept his camera rolling, narrating every moment as he went.
I mean, it is windy outside, so I cannot rule that out. But these were loud, so I don't know. Is there someone up here? Making noises? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to think it could be a false alarm. Maybe not. That definitely sounded like it was in here. In here. And you know what? If you look out there. The wind has stopped. So that totally rules that out. Which is scary because those sounds were so loud. I nearly pissed myself. Luckily I wasn't recording. That would have been embarrassing. Oh God. Who's down there? I can't help but think about that spirit box session that was on this floor. That right there, or not that one, right there, that's John Oliver's room. I'm just thinking about what he said, because I have a bad feeling right now. Whoever's down there, come on out.
Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Dude, something just ran across that hall. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh, come on, you just calm down. Oh, Jesus. I'm whimpering and screaming like a little freaking baby right now.
Out of nowhere, there was a loud bang, startling him. To make sure it wasn't just wind or a loose window, he carefully panned over to the glass, showing that it was completely sealed and the trees outside were still. Just as he turned back, another bang echoed from deeper in the hallway, and before he could even react, a ghostly figure glided across the hallway in front of him. It wasn't a trick of the light or camera blur. This was something solid enough to cast a faint shadow. Ian's breathing picked up, and he stopped talking completely, clearly rattled by what he just witnessed. He stuck around for a little longer, but you could tell he was ready to bolt. Whatever's in that asylum clearly knows it's being watched. The loss was recent, and the pain still hung in the air like fog. Two brothers had been tasked with something no one ever wants to do, choosing a coffin. They walked into the quiet showroom of a local funeral home, unsure of what to say to each other, still processing everything. While one of them waited outside, the other stepped into a small side room lined with display pieces.
Miren, como tenemos rato escuchando ruidos aquí en esta zona. Si vemos, pues está solo. Y creemos que pues hay algo aquí, porque pues se empiezan a mover así como que medio raro. Miren, 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 miren. Miren cómo se mueve, miren, 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 miren. Miren cómo se mueve. No hay nada. No hay nada, no hay nada, no hay nada. Está mi compañero, pero pues si vemos estamos solos.
As he looked around, the head hatch of one of the coffins creaked slightly open on its own, barely a few inches, and then continued to make slight movements. Startled, he paused, watching it for a moment before walking over to check. But when he opened the lid fully, no one was there. Nothing was inside, just empty silence. He quietly left the room and didn't say anything right away. Only later did he mention it to his brother, and even then, he kept it short. Neither of them believed in anything supernatural, but for a second, it felt like something or someone had been trying to say goodbye. Could it have been their mother who passed away? The video was posted by the Source 90, a crew member aboard a small research vessel crossing the Atlantic with a team of scientists conducting a long-term study on deep-sea acoustics. Most of the content from their trip showed the usual: calm waves, equipment checks, and life on board. But one night, everything changed.
Can you hear me? Yo, that shit was instantaneous, bro. Oh, I gotta watch my step out here, man. God damn. Where are you? Oh, that's over here. Wait, no, now it's there.
Around midnight, he picked up the camera, whispering about something strange. He asked questions such as, "Can you hear me?" while panning across the dark, empty ocean. The others were below deck, but he'd stepped out after hearing what he described as screams. After beckoning whatever it was to answer him, the sound came from all directions though. The video went viral, with viewers arguing over whether it was the wind, a deep-sea mammal, or something else entirely. A few nights later, he uploaded again.
So I went out on deck to see what it was.
Yo, what is that? What the f is that? We got another one over here? What are those? On each side of the boat? What are those trails called? What's something swimming fast underneath that water? Something swimming real fast underneath that water.
He'd been asleep in his cabin when loud bangs on the deck woke him. At first, he stayed in bed, thinking maybe someone dropped something, but the banging kept happening. Eventually, he grabbed the camera and went up. The deck was almost empty, with a few equally confused scientists there with him. But in the water on both sides of the boat, large water trails were keeping perfect pace with the vessel. The scientists were called up and briefly seen in the background debating what the creatures could be, but none of them could make a confident ID. Some commenters suggested this may be the cause of the paranormal world, but others weren't so sure this was just a case of nerves. After that last encounter, the team spent the next few days in relative peace. The weather was calm, equipment functioned normally, and even the Source 90 admitted in a short update that things felt back to normal. With their destination just a few days away, spirits were higher, and whatever had happened earlier began to feel like a strange but isolated experience. But just when the possibility of a haunting had finally slipped from his mind, everything changed again.
Source 90, and we just out here. We're chilling. We're out here chilling. I hear it. I hear him. Where's she at? What the fuck is that noise, bro? What is that noise? Where are you? This is crazy. I heard it. I heard it. I hear it. Oh my God. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's crazy.
He was relaxing near the stern of the vessel, casually filming a moment of downtime when it started. The screaming, this time louder, clearer, and seemingly everywhere at once. He walked around the entire deck of the boat, trying to catch a source, but the sound moved with the wind, so no direction made sense. It was this fact that made this incident far more frightening for him, and what began as intrigue had shifted into something far more personal. They had a fear that whatever they'd encountered wasn't random and might not be finished yet, with one more suspicion. What if these were mermaids? Another upload came just a few hours later, and this one shook the comments section in a different way. The research team had been using a bait rig to collect samples as part of their study and caught a small haul of fish just before sunrise. While sorting through them with another crew member, the Source 90 noticed something odd mixed in with the pile.
What's good? Source 90. Don't mind the hair. A little curly today. I have something to show y'all. Peep game! So I was fishing on this fishing trip, right? And something came up in the dredge. That looks like a tail to me. Looks like a tail of a bone to me. I'm gonna take that bone and go to the local university, which is UMass, go to their marine biology department, and find out what the it is, because I don't know about you, I'm curious. I got some questions.
Look at that.
Holding the camera close, he picks up what looks like a slender, pale bone, curved unnaturally and shaped in a way that resembled the lower end of a fin or tail. At first, he laughed it off, thinking it was a deformed fish part or some leftover cartilage. But as he turned it over and showed the detail, the tone of the video shifted. The Source 90 looked at the camera and explained how he was going to get this properly identified at the local university. Since posting, theories have spiraled. Was it a rare deep-sea creature, a leftover artifact from some shipwrecked species, or worse, something tied to those sounds they kept hearing? The discovery brought a whole new layer of fear, not just of the unknown, but of the possibility that the unknown had left something behind. When they touched back to land, he decided to visit a whale museum to get answers about the strange bone.
So today was the day. I got a call back from the whaling museum, and they had an expert there who was willing to talk to me about the bone that I have found. But look at that, man. Look at those big monstrous animals. Look at those bones. That's crazy.
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
He was there taking a whole bunch of photos, measuring the thing, emailing certain other people that he knows who might have other insight on it. Yeah, everybody's saying they never seen nothing like it. Usually the bones that come up are like vertebrae and stuff, but nobody's seen anything like this.
Take a photo. Bob asked me to take a photo of it.
Absolutely. You've never seen anything like this?
No. I don't know what it is.
That's crazy. You don't know what it is.
In the clip, an expert carefully examines it, but admits they can't identify what it is. No clear explanation, so maybe it really is something unknown, perhaps a mermaid after all, but we'll probably never truly know. A group gathered to pray together, each believing deeply in their own innocence. None of them thought they had done enough wrong to ever become a victim of paranormal activity. They were calm, united by their faith, and the hope that their pure intentions would keep them safe. But then, something chilling happened. One of the statues in the room, still and lifeless moments before, suddenly moved its fingers. The slow, subtle motion was eerily creepy, breaking the calm atmosphere and leaving the few who spotted it really frightened. They decided not to inform the group who were praying, however, because it was not something worth disturbing prayer. They asked the group to pray more about revoking demons just in case something truly was out to get them. Let's just hope it works. Ian, better known online as the Midwest Ghost Hunter, has been featured on this channel countless times, visiting some of the scariest and most notoriously haunted places across the country. In this clip, he decided to explore a reportedly haunted theater completely alone. The place had a heavy history and had been abandoned for years, but Ian, as usual, seemed more curious than scared.
Else you can do in this office to let me know that you are here? Could you move one of your books? Something on this shelf?
As he was filming near an old desk, 2 orbs suddenly appeared and floated across the frame, subtle but clearly visible. Seconds later, a nearby chair shifted on its own, sliding just a few inches without any apparent cause. Ian froze, whispering a reaction under his breath before moving in to inspect the area. Nothing and no one else was there. After leaving the theater, he admitted the place felt heavier than most he's visited and wasn't sure if it was just haunted or something worse. Subscribe for future clips with Ian. The following video took place in August of 2006. Phil Koch was visiting a house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin that was going through an exorcism and cleansing. He wasn't particularly into ghosts, but he was there to photograph and video the house before the ritual began. As the group was starting the cleansing in the basement, Phil was getting ready to leave and decided to take one last shot of the living room.
Oh, come on. Alright, that wasn't cool.
On camera, a door suddenly opened by itself, opening a crack, whilst it was evident nobody was nearby. After the event, Phil packed up and left immediately, spooked by what he had captured. Though he wasn't normally concerned with the paranormal, the clip left him uneasy, and he avoided returning to the house as the ritual continued. Working security can get kind of spooky. The guard, who hated the job and was only doing it because he was young, had always dreamed of becoming a filmmaker. But for now, this was just a paycheck. The community college he patrolled had a dark reputation with rumors and stories of multiple people having shot themselves in the parking lot. This dark past made the job even creepier.
Spooky if I don't.
Yo, did it again.
Turn on my flashlight.
One night, the bathroom started making strange noises, flushing sounds, taps turning on and off, so he went in to check. As soon as he stepped inside the actual bathroom, all the sounds stopped. Nobody was there, and nothing seemed out of place. Despite being unsettled, he chose to keep the job rather than complain, chalking it up to faulty sensors and dark lore, while continuing to save for his true dream of filmmaking. Sean had always been skeptical about the strange noises coming from his attic door, and they had been haunting him from day one. His roommate Stephen insisted it was just the wind because Sean left his windows cracked for fresh air, but Sean wasn't so sure. Determined to catch what was happening on tape, he set up a camera on his jeans, aiming it at the attic entrance, turned off the lights, and went to bed.
Okay, everybody, we're in my closet. And I'm going to do the experiment of trying to get this on tape. My attic, it's right there. It always makes noise It rattles all the time at night. I'm not sure if it's the suction of the wind in the attic or whatever it is, but I'm going to try to get this on film when I'm sleeping. So it is around 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to place camera right up here on my jeans. So I'll try to get this on film. Alrighty. Good night, Facebook. Well, if I can place it up here. There we go.
Around 3 a.m., the camera picked up weird noises coming from the attic, almost like taps. By 4 a.m., the attic door was clattering aggressively, as if something was trying to get out, and an orb even flew past the camera. Sean was left shaken but fascinated, reviewing the footage repeatedly, and now seriously considering getting expert help to figure out what was haunting his attic. Derek had been working the late shift at the bar for years, and while he'd heard his fair share of ghost stories from staff and customers, he never took them seriously. That night, the place was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigeration units and the occasional creak from the old wooden beams. He was alone, methodically cleaning glasses, and wiping down tables, trying to finish up so he could lock up and head home. Without warning, a stool on the far side of the bar suddenly tipped over and crashed onto the floor with a loud thud. Derek froze, staring at the fallen chair for a few seconds before running away. Just as he was able to make his escape, another set of random objects fell to the ground, as if someone moved them, but there was evidently no visible force. The air outside felt heavier, almost charged, and Derek's chest tightened with unease. The bizarre activity lasted only moments, but it was enough to shake him. From that night on, Derek made sure to finish his work earlier or bring someone along, unwilling to risk being in the building alone after hours again. Josh had stopped at a small restaurant for a quick meal, and after finishing, headed into the bathroom. It was nothing unusual, just a quiet, dimly lit space with the faint sound of the kitchen muffled through the walls. After taking care of business, he washed his hands and was about to leave when a strange feeling crept over him, like someone else was in the room watching. Moments later, the tap on one of the sinks suddenly turned on by itself, the water running for a few seconds before shutting off. Curious and unnerved, Josh pulled out his phone and started filming, scanning the empty bathroom.
Jesus Christ.
For a while, nothing happened, just the low hum of the ventilation fan and the sound of movement from Josh himself. Then, without warning, the faucet burst to life again, splashing water into the sink before shutting off on its own. That was enough for Josh. He grabbed his things, pushed the door open, and left the bathroom as quickly as he could, deciding he'd rather wait until he got home than risk another encounter like that. This particular doll had a sinister reputation long before it ever ended up in a collector's hands. Said to be from the Second World War, it was once used by a ventriloquist who toured military bases to lift the spirits of soldiers. But according to old records, the performer died suddenly under mysterious circumstances mid-tour, and the doll was never used again. Over the years, it changed owners multiple times, each reporting strange experiences such as unsettling noises at night, whispers in empty rooms, even claims of the doll moving on its own. Eventually, the head was locked in a glass display box for safety, sealed tightly to prevent tampering. As the camera focuses on the display, the doll's eyes, which should be permanently fixed shut, suddenly open wide. At the same moment, the glass door creaks open by itself. Just seconds later, the doll's eyes slide closed again, and the door moves again. Collectors who've seen this footage insist it proves what they've believed all along, that whatever spirit is attached to this doll is still very much alive. Some even warn it should never be taken out of its case again. Ahmed had always been fascinated by the unknown, spending his free time exploring old buildings, cemeteries, and spiritual places just for the thrill of documenting anything unusual. On one of his late-night outings, he found himself inside an abandoned home where the atmosphere felt heavy, almost like the walls themselves were watching. That's when he stumbled upon an old wardrobe tucked into the corner of a bedroom. The air around it felt colder, and the uneasy sensation in his chest told him he needed to record.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso?
Hola.
¿Y la mosca que salió?
Hola.
Bien. Salió una mosca, miren. Ahí está la mosca. Miren, ahí anda, ahí anda, ahí anda. Aquí había alguien adentro, ¿eh?
¿Estás aquí adentro? ¿Estás aquí adentro?
Miren, miren, miren.
Hola.
Ahí anda la mosca adentro, miren.
¿Dónde estás?
¡Ay, Dios! ¡Ay, Dios!
As the camera locked onto the wardrobe, its doors began to rattle violently, as if something inside was fighting to get out. Then, with a sudden force, one of the doors swung open wide. Eventually, one of the doors slammed shut again, leaving him shaken and speechless. He later admitted that this was the first time he truly questioned whether his hobby had crossed into something dangerous. Still, rather than quit, Ahmed's passion for the paranormal only deepened, and he now believes this wardrobe encounter was a direct sign that the spirits had acknowledged his presence. It was a special night for a family gathered to celebrate their grandmother's 90th birthday. The table was filled with laughter, food, and of course, the glowing cake sitting right in front of her. As everyone gathered around to sing happy birthday, the old woman sat beaming with joy, soaking in the love of her family.
Sople, todavía sopla. Sople. Sople la vela.
Apague la vela.
No, con la boca, con la boca.
But in the middle of the song, the atmosphere shifted. Just behind her chair, a shadow darted past, small and fast, almost like a child running across the room. The family didn't notice in the moment, too caught up in singing, but the footage later revealed what looked unmistakably like a ghostly figure slipping into the background. Some believe it was the spirit of a child joining the celebration, making the birthday far more chilling than anyone expected. The Paranormies are a group of well-experienced ghost hunters who visit locations and see what they can find. They post their findings onto their YouTube channel so that people like us and see what ghosts are capable of, and it truly is fascinating. In the adventure that I am about to expose you to, they were responding to a scary story of an old friend who may have been part of a homicide in the 1970s. The spooky, abandoned town of Piney is where this took place, and they wanted to investigate the train station first, and weird signs popped up right away.
You can moan for us so we can hear it. You can do it into one of our microphones or into our ear.
Look at this, man. I didn't see over there, but that looks like it's coming down too.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Like what I'm showing, that looks like a TV, the actual two-part of the TV.
Oh yeah.
All around the station, they were finding appliances such as televisions, stoves, and refrigerators, which was really weird, considering the purpose of the building was supposed to be a transport mechanism. The team theorized that it must have been converted to a storage unit, but as I said, this was just a theory. After coming up with this, they continued their train station adventure without much else to think about. This location had been debunked, but not a house in the town. Next, they all went to the closest house in the abandoned town, and what they found there was much weirder.
Silence.
Really?
Like, I actually heard like a lot of voices, but like then it just would stop for like 10-20 seconds at a time, and then it would just pick up again, which is super weird. So if it's silent in here right now, it could pick up again any second.
You hear that?
Yeah. Oh my god. Was that upstairs? No, that's outside.
Holy f, man, it sounded like a piece of the house just busted off.
What? That might have been it, because look at the roof.
Was that a piece of the house or was that you? Oh man, that freaked me out. My hands are shaking. Holy smokes.
There was something standing here, right?
What's that?
You saw it too?
Yeah.
Something was standing right here.
It looked like something was standing right here.
Oh my god.
But I saw it for like a split second.
A thump was heard by the whole group, and it was almost as if a victim of the homicide was still haunting the town. I will continue this story in a future video on the channel. William Davies was winding down in his bedroom when he heard the soft creak of the door moving. At first, he thought it was just a draft, but then it happened again and again. No windows were open and the heating wasn't on. He grabbed his phone and began filming, thinking it might just be a loose hinge or bad alignment.
Whatever that was. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, just move back a bit then. Oh, not amazing. You're too close to the door. Postman. No way. Holy shit. Makes me wonder.
strange. Definitely has like that. Something about the clock. What? I'm definitely hearing things. Whoa. Not possible. Got some pull on it as well.
In the footage, the bedroom door sways all by itself, as if something is actually in contact with it. As William turns the camera to scan the rest of the room, the cabinet door beside his dresser swings open just as deliberately. There's no sound, no sudden gust, nothing visible that could have triggered it. Afterward, William sits down and replays the clip multiple times, watching how precisely everything moved. The timing feels intentional, like something unseen was reacting to him. He checks the hinges, tests the cabinet, even places items inside to see if anything shifts naturally, but everything stays still until the camera comes back out. That night, he leaves the lights on and tries to sleep with one eye open. The fear isn't from what he saw, but from knowing he didn't imagine it. Something in that room moved, and whatever it was, it knew he was watching. In the following video, Matty was home alone when he heard the bells from the front door ringing. This usually meant that somebody had entered the house, but upon checking, nobody was there, so he assumed it was the wind. However, when he started hearing this again later in the night, he was not going to be as foolish. Matty took his camera this time to capture the phenomenon on camera, and this is what he was able to see.
I don't know what's going on with these dogs, bro. They're scared of something. Yo, I'm telling you, bro, that's the second time I heard those bells, bro. The second time. I'm home all the alone, bro. Nobody is home. Nobody. No one is home. Nobody is home. And those bells. What's wrong, Petey? What's wrong? What do you see? You see something? You see something over here? I'm telling you, those bells, I heard them twice. What the f*** is going on? Petey! 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 Petey, what's going on? The TV turned on. The TV turned on. Petey, let's go. Go, Petey. Go. Go out. Go out. Go out. Go. Go out. Go out. Go out. Go out. Go out. What the is going on? What the is going on? What the is going? It turned off. It turned off. Lucy, Bentley, let's go. Bentley, get out. Let's go. Tiberius, let's go. Get the out. Get the out. Get the out. Let's go. Tiberius. Lucy. Oh my God. Charlie, let's go. Come on. Come on, who's home? Come on, who's home? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Come on, T! Come on! Lucy!
The chiming bell was definitely not the biggest issue in this house, because from falling objects to a self-activating TV, this place had it all. Experts have no idea why a poltergeist would choose to target Matty, especially considering nobody else, including him, ever noticed something weird inside of the house again. This is one of many big mysteries on this channel that will likely never be solved. The woman in our next clip loved her job as a cleaner at the old church. Every day, she took pride in making the place shine, enjoying the quiet moments among the ancient stone and stained glass windows. But one day, while working late, she suddenly felt an icy chill creeping through the air. Feeling uneasy, she decided to record a video for her friend to show what was happening.
I want to go back there quick.
In the footage, a heavy wooden door slowly moves by itself. She turns around, startled, and screams. After that, she left work early and told her boss she wouldn't be returning. The experience shook her deeply, and the church that once felt like a second home suddenly became a place she wanted to avoid forever. Two kids were messing around in the kitchen one afternoon while their family's Ring doorbell camera picked up everything. They had been watching scary videos earlier and were still hyped up, joking loudly to each other. "I ain't scared of no ghosts." It was all fun and laughter until it wasn't. Just after one of them repeats the line, the door ahead of them slams shut with full force, seemingly out of nowhere. Their faces go from playful to terrified in a heartbeat. They scream, running around in a panic, not knowing whether to open the door or hide. Eventually, they yank it back open and bolt straight through the house, crying as they race down the street to their grandma's place next door. Later that evening, after things calmed down, their parents reviewed the footage. There were no windows open, no fans on, and nothing they could find that would have caused the door to move like that. Everyone agreed it wasn't just wind or coincidence. It felt like a direct response to the kids mocking whatever might be in the house. Since then, they haven't gone back to that kitchen alone, and next time they talk about ghosts, they'll think twice before taunting them. No one in this family ever thought their house was haunted. It was barely 9 years old, and everything about it felt normal, except for one thing. Ever since they were kids, they'd hear the sound of someone digging through their big plastic tub of Lego pieces upstairs. It was the same tub where they used to build bionicles, and the rattling noise it made was loud and unmistakable. But sometimes, that sound would echo through the house when no one was up there.
Yeah, I hear that very loudly. Dude, that is weird. That's loud. That's loud. Yeah, that's very loud. Go in. Come. Let's go in.
Yeah, there's nobody up here. There's literally nothing in here. And look how heavy this is. Yeah. Hang on, there's nothing up here. What the crap? There's nothing in here either, look. I could hear it when we got about halfway down the hallway. Yeah, it stopped as we got closer. I just heard once. Like I came out and heard like shh. That's all I heard. Yeah, but we heard it. We were sitting there. We were sitting in there and we heard. You heard it start? Yeah. Yeah, we heard it start and it went for like. How long ago before you got me?
It probably went for about 10 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it. You'll watch it. So you can.
In the recording, you can clearly hear the distinct plastic clatter coming from the closet, like someone sifting through the pieces. The two brothers rush toward it, open the door, and find absolutely nothing. No person, no movement, just an eerie stillness. They figured that was it, just the same weird sound they'd been hearing for years. But when they showed the footage to friends and eventually cast it onto their living room TV, someone caught something that none of them had seen before. In the far back of the closet, a huge bionicle figure they'd built as kids can be seen slowly turning its head right before the clip ends. They raced upstairs to check, and sure enough, the figure was still there. Same pose, same position. The neck joint is stiff, not loose, so it shouldn't have been able to move at all. The family says they've never felt in danger, but ever since that night, none of them go near the closet alone.